This podcast is a celebration of women who are shaping culture, influencing the world, and boldly stepping into the entertainment industry to create God-honoring content across all media platforms. I'm your host, Shari Rigby. Grab your coffee, settle in, and join me for an inspiring ride.
Welcome, Julia. Hi, thank you for having me, Shari.
I'm so excited to have you on this podcast. You are truly one of the next generation changers, world changers for the entertainment and media industry. And I had the privilege and honor of working with you on County Rescue. And by the way, congratulations on these nominations. Talk a little bit about that. What's coming up for you?
Thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. Yes, I'm going to, I don't know when this is coming out, but I'm going to the Movie Guide Awards next week in LA. My mom's coming with me. I can't wait. I went last year and presented, and I felt so out of place because it was so new and I didn't really know anyone at Great American Family yet. And so now I'm really excited to go and have other like very dear friends there. And so County Rescue Season 1, Episode 5 is nominated for 3 awards. Riley, Huff and I are nominated. And then A Little Women's Christmas that I also did with Great American Family is nominated for a few awards as well. So I cannot wait.
Wow. How exciting. I think, well, first of all, you don't have just one nomination. You have 3 nominations right there. And, I think if I recall watching episode 5 of season 1 on County Rescue, I actually think it was one of my favorite episodes. So when I saw the nomination, I just thought, okay, this is perfect. And especially for you and Riley, like this is a great opportunity for you too, because I know so many people cherish the show and love just the cast and the characters. And you play Danny Miller in this series, County Rescue. Tell us a little bit about your character and what ended up drawing you to her, and what's so special about her and this project in general?
Oh man, I could go on and on for how special this project is. I relate so much to Danny. I mean, I say a lot. We're both at very similar phases in life, same age. And I think in your 20s, you're trying to kind of navigate adulthood because now you're kind of like a real adult, but you don't maybe necessarily have the full responsibility of like a full-fledged adult yet. You're in this like very in-between phase of what do the next steps of life look like for you? And I know in my own life and in Danny's life, it can get easy to just get caught up in thinking too much about the future that you're not living in the present and listening to exactly what the Lord wants you to do in a given moment. And so I could relate to her a lot in that sense. And so she's taught me a lot. Playing Danny has taught me a lot, especially trying to be more present for sure. And she's just on this journey to figure out her true purpose and her calling and exploring a possible job at the EMT station and navigating family dynamics, navigating relationships, navigating her faith, all the things that we go through in life as is. So she's very relatable to myself and I think to so many others watching. And the whole show is just so special, and it really comes down to the people, from the cast to the crew. But I mean, especially this cast, as you know, is just such a family, and we've been through so much together. And they truly are my second family. And we all genuinely love each other. It's not fake. We all genuinely have so much love for each other. And it's just been one of like the greatest gifts of my life to be part of this show.
I love that. Like I said, I was so honored to be a part of County Rescue Season 2. And it was really just, there was so much love, like you said. And just, so often when you walk in, whether you're a cast member or crew member, you walk in and there's a lot of times you don't actually click, or you click and it's not authentic. And so I remember walking onto set, and it's always hard too, because when something has already been in motion for a while, people have their relationships established, And so, but I walked in immediately and felt like I was part of the family, and just an honor to be part of such an incredible series. And I think people really do enjoy this show because there's so much heart in it and just the faith that goes along with this series. But you've also been working alongside of Great American Family. And this is a series that launched it was an original series for them. What was it like for you as an actress to come into something where here you are, you're leading this series that's launching on Great American Family as one of their first series? What was that like for you? And what is it like working with Great American and Bill Abbott and his entire team?
Yeah, it was very surreal. So when we started season 1 of the show, we didn't know at the time that we were going to be with Great American Family and on their network. So it's very much a testament to God opening doors bigger than I could have ever imagined going into it. Because Great American merged with PureFlix while in the middle of us shooting the show. And so everything shifted and we were like, well, we're going to keep making the show. And then maybe only a little over a month before season 1 came out, we found out that we were going to be Great American Family's first original series. And it was honestly just such an honor and such a gift. And I got to meet Bill Abbott for the first time at the Movie Guide Awards last year. And I just immediately felt so welcomed by them. Bill is just a phenomenal human. He's loves people. He loves what he does. And he is just so incredible to work with and to know. And the whole team there is just so lovely. Every time I get to talk to them or see them, I feel I don't take a second for granted that I get to work on a network with wonderful humans and also people who are passionate about telling positive stories and faith-filled stories. And that's just so hard to come by in this business.
I love that. I really do. I love the approach that Bill has and just his true love for his talent and the people and the projects that he's making, along with his entire team. You also did a movie this year that came out, A Little Women's Christmas, which is legendary in itself. And you got to play Amy March. And I mean, that really is a story that goes back for so many of us that we really do consider it being one of those stories that you would watch every year. Talk a little bit about that and what that was like to work with so many incredible stars. And you filmed it in Franklin, Tennessee. You worked with Jen Lilly and several others. What was it like to play this key role that's been a legacy role for so many years, around, right? What was that like?
Yeah, it was so much fun. To be honest, before we started filming the movie, I didn't really have time to wrap my head around the legacy of Little Women and like the legacy of Amy March, because I was at the beach for the 4th of July. And then I got an email from Brendan Clark, who directed the film, and just said he wanted me to do a tape for Amy. And I was like, okay. So I spent the day like prepping and learning my lines and threw it on tape. And it's whenever you're traveling, whenever I'm traveling, my tapes, don't look top notch. So I was like, okay, working with what I have, but here we go. And then I think I found out like 2 or 3 days before I actually had to be in Franklin that I got the role. So wow. I was there and then immediately diving into the material. And it was so wonderful to work with. We had Jillian Murray, Jen Lilly, Laura Osnes, Trevor Donovan, Jessie Hutch, Jessie's daughter, Charlize, who's just the cutest ever. I mean, and they've all been doing this for so long, and they know this medium. And so watching them and working with them was like the biggest masterclass ever, especially in the rom-com space. That's not territory I've really been in much before. So it was very different going from county rescue, medical drama to A Little Women's Christmas, just totally different feels. But it was so much fun. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'm leaving set and like, I didn't have to cry today at work.
My makeup stayed in place. Wow.
We didn't have to do as many touch-ups. Don't get me wrong. I love drama so much. It's my favorite.
I do too.
It's a very different feeling. And yeah, so special. And I really bonded with all the girls, and we keep in touch, and it was so much fun.
I love it. Well, congratulations again on these nominations. And I am praying for you. I'm so excited. I got to meet you on the red carpet last year at Movie Guide. And it was just a pleasure. And so I'm so excited for all of you to be there, just praying and lifting y'all up. I would love for you to tell us a little bit, because now, we've been talking about these beautiful and incredible projects that you've been a part of, but there's always a journey behind getting those lead roles or being a part of something that you've dreamed about for a long time. So tell us a little bit about the journey and how you actually stepped into acting. Like, what was that on your, what was that call on your life, and how did you pursue that? And just take us through that journey a little bit.
Sure. It goes way back for me. My mom put me in dance class when I was 2 or 3. And then I remember at that dance studio, they were doing a production of Seussical Jr. And I think I was 7 at the time. Wow. And the studio owners were like, you should audition. So I did. And anyone who's familiar with Seussical, I got the part of JoJo. And so my parents tell the story of they showed up to the show and they had no clue I was one of the lead roles. And they were like, oh, how'd she learn all of this? That's kind of crazy. Maybe there's something there. And so I just fell in love with theater and performing. And I grew up very heavily as a theater kid. And I was surrounded by some really talented people and well-connected people, and started auditioning for Broadway shows when I was maybe 10 years old. And it was so fun and I loved it, but it was also very competitive. It was, I was taking it very seriously for a 10-year-old. I treated it like my job at that age. But I loved it. However, I think because of some of that pressure, I started not to be as comfortable with singing and stuff early on, but acting was always something that I loved and brought me peace. And it wasn't like a stressful thing for me. And I love to sing now. I've gotten over that, but, sort of, but, yeah. So then the film industry, I grew up north of Atlanta. The film industry started to grow a lot when I was like 12, 13, a teenager. So I started to dabble in that and take film and TV classes. And then my mom helped me figure out how to get an agent and audition. Yeah, I never thought about doing anything else for 1 second. There was never a time where I wanted to quit. And I can tell you that confidently. But it was interesting. A lot of my peers and my acting classes and stuff started to book roles as teenagers. And I didn't really hit my stride yet. And so I just kept at it. I went to college, and then I would say I started to work a little more consistently maybe when I was 20, 21, right after COVID had hit, which was kind of weird timing. But yeah, and then this show came along and just has been incredible. So I want to encourage anyone who wants to do this. Everyone's path and journey is so different, and you really cannot compare what you're doing to anybody else, because it took me years and years. It took me my whole life basically to get to this point now, and I still have so many goals and dreams going forward. But just, I know that God will open the doors that He wants, and the rest is out of my control. So
that's so good. I know I love when people think, oh, it just happened overnight. It just happened overnight. And it's just not like that. I mean, we all work for decades, and we try to hone in our craft, and we try to really get better at the skill that, so that we can walk onto set and be prepared. As a believer, though, when you go to set, whether you're, whether it's making a movie or a television show, what is something that you as a believer prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually to walk onto that set as a believer, to shine a bright light? Because you're telling God-honoring stories. You're not just, you're not in that secular space. You're actually in the faith space. And sometimes people think, oh gosh, that's just got to be the best. There's never any issues. And I'm like, it's actually probably more issues than in the other side. So how do you prepare to go into not only your character for these roles, but also just to be there on set as a bright light for, and basically an agent for Christ?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's interesting because I've been a believer most of my life and grew up in church, but I think we all kind of go through phases where we feel closer to Christ, and maybe sometimes we're farther away. And so I I've talked about this before, but playing Danny on the show has definitely brought me closer in my own faith, because I get to show up to work every day and my job is to be present in my faith. And that's what we do, what we're called to do as believers. Anyway, I don't take a second of being on set for granted, because I know how hard it is to get that opportunity. And there's so many people that would want to be there. And I just try to fully be present and enjoy it. And, we just have to be kind to everyone. You don't know what anyone else is going through on a given day. There's so many moving pieces, and all you can do is show up and do your job and love and be nice to people, keeping myself in the word and praying constantly. And it was such a gift when you were directing. We opened every morning with a prayer, and it was just the most beautiful way to start the day and get our hearts and minds in the right place and set in the work we were doing, which ultimately through the show is honoring God.
No, I love that. And thank you for saying that. I have been in the industry now for such a long time and especially in the faith world. And I just remember going from some sets to working with the Kendrick brothers. And I realized really quickly as I worked with the Kendrick brothers, the difference in what each and every one of us experienced on their set, and how we would tackle not only this job that was ahead of us, but really how we would be more in tune to the people we were working with on the cast and crew, so that we were tapped into them. And I think, how the Kendricks brought me and several others up in the industry to lead well on set was starting with devotional, giving it all up to the Lord, really engaging with that heartfelt praise to him, because when we do that, we just have a different insight as we go in, not only in what we're putting in front of the camera, but also how we engage with the people there. It's so important to be able to love on people, because I always believe this, like if we stamp this message of Christ on something that we're creating for people to indulge in and an audience to watch, how can we not emulate that on our set, right? Because if we lose one on set, and we destroy them in the process, then we really haven't done what we're supposed to be doing and setting out to be that example for the Lord. And so people always talk to me about where I'm supposed to be. And I think that's the one place that I love to be as a director. And it's not just technically directing, but it's really about loving on God's people, like, really encouraging and loving on them. I keep thinking about County Rescue. I hope there's a season 3. We'll be praying over that.
Hey friends, if you're enjoying today's episode, we'd love your support. Hit like, subscribe, comment, and share this video, which helps us grow the channel that directly supports the women in my world and our mission to develop, educate, and launch Christian women in the entertainment and media industry. Every action you take truly makes a difference in our ministry. And now we'd like to share a brief video about the heart and mission behind the women in my world. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey with us. Hi, I'm Shari Rigby, the founder of the Women in My World. Our goal is simple but powerful. We focus on developing, educating, and launching Christian women in entertainment and media. Our aim is to train up emerging talent, empower them to craft impactful, God-honoring content across various platforms, and contribute to positive global change through leadership roles. We invest in women by providing opportunities to learn essential skills in their desired field. Through hands-on education and on-the-job training, we build a community of like-minded women who shepherd others to grow and flourish in their careers. The Women in My World has helped support and launch women into key positions, such as producers, script supervisors, production and costume designers, directors, makeup and hair artists, and so many more. These women have gone on to expand their resumes and their relationships, which have provided opportunities to work on major network television shows and feature films. Due to the small percentage of Christian women in decision-making roles in entertainment, believers must invest in their training, mentoring, and discipleship. These women can then become a voice to change in the negative narratives influencing our culture and shed light on topics we desperately need to tackle from a biblical worldview. The Women in My World is honored to help support women and their careers in entertainment and media as they bring redemptive stories to life and uplift, encourage, and influence the world for Christ.
I also wanted to ask you, because these are always kind of some fun things. Like, what surprised you most about the entertainment industry when you stepped into it? Like, what was the biggest surprise, whether it was a positive or whether it was a negative? What were some of the things that you were like, I never knew that? Or I always think like people go, oh, it's so glamorous. And I'm like, it is not glamorous at all. That's like an hour maybe on a red carpet. But other than that, it is grueling, long, and extremely challenging. So what are some of the things that you've encountered?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I'm leading up to the red carpet. You're like, and scrambling to get out the door and make it on time. And then you're like, hopefully I'm not sweating too much. It's definitely not all glamorous, but I will say it's like the best job in the whole world, in my opinion. It's so much fun. You get to show up to work every day and just play and tell stories. So who doesn't love that? But I think I was shocked a lot by kind of like the back end of a product. So after doing season 1 of County Rescue, before that came out and while that came out, I was doing some press stuff and PR work. And that was almost like a job in itself. I wasn't really prepared for kind of the schedule of that and some of the back end stuff and like business side of it. But as much as I am a creative, I also very much have a business side to my brain too. I'm the only actor, artist in my family. So I learned from my mom growing up, who's just an incredible businesswoman, so much about that side of things. So it was shocking to me how much more goes into it outside of the work on set, but I've learned to love it. And now that I've done it and been through that, I'm definitely a lot more prepared for that. And also how last minute things can be thrown together. You just really cannot plan for stuff. And so I will tell you, getting ready to go out to like the Movie Guide Awards this year is very different for me from last year. I was kind of like anxious, like, okay, well, this isn't set yet, or what do I do here? Now I'm like, you know what? It's going to work out. I'll make it there. I'll be there if I'm supposed to be there. It's just kind of, you really just have to let go and let God so much in this business because there's so much last minute. I don't think you can necessarily be prepared for some of the press and stuff that comes along with being in this industry. Not that I've like experienced that on like a massive level or anything, but it's just, it kind of caught me off guard at first and in certain situations. But I've just learned that all we can do is be true to ourselves.
Well, that's going to be great. I'm so excited that that's the approach you take, because you will have many years then without gray hairs because that's like, just go with the flow. Just go with the flow. I love that you talked about the business side of it, because there's so many people that really don't understand that really it is a business. You're the business actually is technically it, because you're the item that's kind of being sold in some ways, right? Everything from the physical aspects of it to what you bring to the camera. I always find it interesting when I talk to people about the, amount of hours that we put into the day and what we have to do to prepare for our work on set, and then how many hours we're actually on set. And people look at me like I'm crazy. And I always want to tell them, I'm like, listen, if you love it and you know that that's where God's called you, there's no other place that you would rather be. If I'm putting 12 hours in on a set and then I have to go home and learn my lines or whatever it is, there's so much joy there. But if it's not for you, then it's not for you. And you'll come to find that very quickly. And so there's so many, I loved all the things, but business is a big, big part of what we do each and every day. And I'm so happy that you said that about that. I'm a business minded person too. So I have to use the right and left side of my brain all the time.
Sure.
And I think it's a really good thing. What's your favorite thing that you have to have on set with you?
Oh, well, one is my emotional support water bottle. Yeah, it's definitely, I think, snuck into certain shots of stuff before accidentally. A toothbrush. I always have to brush my teeth after lunch. A couple snacks.
Isn't that funny? I got hooked on the little like tiny toothbrushes that the makeup artists carry in their bags.
Yes. Yeah, Kristen used those a ton on season 2.
They're great.
Great.
They're so good. Talk a little bit about what it's like being on set. You're not married.
No.
You're not engaged.
No.
No. You're like, no. I'm not sure what the relationship status is at this point, but I do know that you're a young, beautiful woman who is not married. Talk a little bit about what that's like in this industry, and how does that work for you? Because that's a tough place to be, whether you're single or married. This job takes us away for a couple months at a time. But what's it like for you to be single and working in the entertainment industry?
I haven't really talked about this very much. Okay. Well, I'm at the age now where I've worked with people who are all in like different phases of their life. I've worked with people who are playing like a love interest of mine who are married and have families, and then people who are single or people who are in relationships. So I think when it comes to, your scene partners, it's just you respect each other. And I love talking about like people's families and their kids. Like that's so fun. And just talking about life with people and getting to know one another.
That's good. I mean, I think it's, we all have to kind of step onto sets, and we'll be in a group talking with friends, and we laugh because we talk about how set is kind of like this great summer camp, and it's kind of magical, right? And so there's a lot that goes along with that. And I think as a married person, I know also my human nature, and it's like, I have to be really careful to set my boundaries. Sure. And then, also just being young and being in today's world, and you're up against so many things in the entertainment industry and outside of it, so you just have a lot of influence on your life. And, we talk about this a lot, is like, what is it like now as a single? Because I mentor so many people. I'm talking to people all the day long, these women. What is it like to be a single woman in today's culture, and especially dealing with how entertainment and media affects us? And I'm sure that you've had these conversations before. I don't know, maybe you've thought about it, maybe you haven't.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting. I think, okay, now that we're talking, I've had a couple more thoughts on it. I think one, whether you're married, engaged, dating someone, or single, well, if you're single, I guess this doesn't really apply. But even when I've, been in a relationship and been on set on a project, communication is a very big thing in terms of, if there's a day where I'm showing up to work and I see the call sheet and it's maybe really intense scenes that day, I have learned, like, I need to give my significant other the courtesy of being like, hey, it's going to be a crazy day today. Phone is going to be on Do Not Disturb. You're probably not going to hear from me. I'll check in with you at lunch, or I'll check in with you as soon as we wrap, that kind of thing. So communication is definitely a big factor. And I think you have to step it up even more when you're on set because of the crazy hours. It's not the normal career path. It's not the 9-to-5 corporate world. And so this lifestyle and this journey is not for everyone. I've talked to people before who are like, yeah, I could never date an actress because of the schedule and because of the demands and because of the 2 days before you book a movie and you have to go leave. And that's okay. It isn't for everyone.
Right.
So I think that's a very open conversation I have with people, about the reality of what I do and what that schedule looks like.
I love that. I'm thinking about all the conversations that my husband and I have had over these things, the same thing, because when we got married, I wasn't in the entertainment industry. And so, we'll talk about certain things, and he's so funny because he'll be like, oh yeah, that's just acting, or I'll come back from a shoot after 2 months and he'll be like, hey, you're back in the real world. There's no craft services and nobody's handing you a cup of coffee. So, it's the funniest thing that we go through, but I love that you said communication, because it really is important for one another, whether you're married or you're single or you're dating or whatever, or even with friends. Hey,
and family. Yeah.
Family. Like, I'm not trying to ditch you or not speak to you. This is just a really big day. And a lot of people don't understand the pressure that is set before us on a set. And I love that when people actually get to go and visit a set and they get to experience something that we experience, because then they start to realize how we're impacted day in and day out of what we're doing. And so when our phone is on silent, they understand why.
Yeah, friendships are such a good thing to bring up too, because I have been so blessed with friends that get it. Even in college, we made a plan to go to dinner. I got an audition. The only time I have to do it with class schedule is tomorrow morning. I'm so sorry I have to cancel so I can prep for this. And thankfully, my friends have been so supportive and understand that, whether they're in the industry or not. But yeah, it's hard. I have plans with a couple of my girlfriends to get dinner right now, set out 2 or 3 weeks in advance, just because I know I'm going to be traveling, and that's just how it goes sometimes. I've never been more of a calendar girl than within the last year. I'm like, let me check my calendar. Let's put it on the calendar.
Isn't that the funniest thing? I think that there's so often, I have a couple questions I want to ask you before we wrap up, but I think that is a really big, I love that you said that about clarity though, because so many of the friends and family members today, we live in the world of technology and you're kind of at the reach of everybody within seconds. And if you don't respond right away, there's kind of this idea of like, oh, wait, how come I really need this answer. And you're going, it's really not the way that it works for me and my job to be able to do that. So I love that. The clarity is really important. And I am the same way though. I have really good friends that understand what I do for a living, that I will get to them when I can. And it's not a lack of not wanting to be present with them. But that's so good. What's one thing that you wish that you would have known going into this industry that maybe would have helped you just to kind of navigate things a little bit better? What's something that you wish you would have known?
Something I wish I had grasped earlier on, which I like to think I have a handle on it now, but I was such a perfectionist, like growing up when it came to school and even my acting and work. And I had a coach say to me one time, he was like, if you're going to be a perfectionist, you're not going to be a good actor. Because you're going to get locked in like a right way to do something. And there's no right way. I am grateful to have learned that and learned to let go of that, because this goes back to also like the control thing. You are not in control of any of it. You will get scenes on the call sheet that you thought were next week and you thought you had more time with the night before. And then you just have to do it and learn it and have fun and be grateful. And sometimes that might look like you don't sleep a lot that night, but then you catch up and you make up for it. But just honestly going with the flow in all aspects, in terms of letting go of any sense of perfectionism, letting go of having any control of the schedule, and just, trusting the process, trusting in that you know what you're doing, you prepared for this, and trusting your director and your scene partners to create what needs to be created. It's very much a go with the flow kind of business, which I didn't have as good of a grasp of that before getting into it. And I still have moments where I struggle with that. And then I have moments where I'm like, it's all good. It's all good.
I got this.
Yeah.
No big deal. I love that approach though. No, that's so good because, and I think about that. I mean, I think I lived for years being in this mindset where I had to go on there and be perfect. I had to have every word, everything that had to be perfect. Every movement had to be perfect. And it's like, there's actually something super beautiful about it not being perfect. Now that I'm behind the camera, it's like, oh my goodness, there's magic there that just happened that we can't recreate because it's not on the page, but it's there. And then you hope that other people through the process, because we can only do so much, then it goes through the hands of, the next storyteller, which is the editor, and the next storyteller, which is the studios. But you hope they grasp the same thing. They grasp what that magical piece might have been.
Yeah, you can only show up and do your job, and then the rest of it is totally out of your control again. That's another thing I learned in terms of the final edit. It's not my job. I don't know what I'm going to see until I see it.
That's it.
I do my job, they do their job, and we hope that we create a great product.
And I think that's been me now knowing as an actress and a director. People they'll call me and, people who are going into being directing, and they're like, well, I'm not doing it because I'm not getting final say. Well, guess what? The biggest of the biggest of the biggest never get final say. All you got to do is go on to Hollywood Reporter and watch that. The people that hold the keys to the money and the distribution have the final say, and so we have to do our job, and then we just have to kind of go, okay, God, you put me there. I did what I was supposed to do, and now I have to walk away from it and trust that you've got it, no matter what the outcome is.
Let's do your thing, Lord. Yeah.
Do your thing. Okay, before we go, 2 questions quick. One, how do you, Julia, define success? And number 2, after you're done sharing a little bit about that, tell us how people can find you and stay connected with Julia and her journey as she continues to just blow up in this industry as one of the world changers that we get to see and watch now today.
That is so sweet. Success, to me has always looked like, honestly, just joy and happiness. And whether that's because, I've learned you're never going to have true joy from work. You're never going to have true joy from your life circumstances. That all comes from God. And so, if I'm breaking it down in terms of like the business, I've always told myself I'd love to be able to make my living off of acting and doing what I love to do. But at the end of the day, whatever, that's not going to matter. What really matters is obviously my relationship with God. But after that, it's my relationship with my family and friends and the time we have with them. Life is so precious and fleeting, and there's nothing more valuable on earth to me than those relationships. And so if I have my family and even a couple good friends and I'm walking hand in hand with God, like that is where my success is. And the work that comes along with that is a gift from him. That's all outside of myself. So yeah.
It's great. I love it. Well, tell us where everybody can find you and stay connected. And then is there anything new on the horizon that you can or want to share with us so that we make sure that we're tapping in and really following your journey?
Oh, okay. I have a couple things I'm really excited about, but like that haven't been finalized. So I'm not going to talk about those projects yet. But yeah, I can. And, hopefully it all works out. Praying for those. But I am on Instagram at Julia Grace Reilly. My last name is Reilly. I know it's spelled a little different. And then that's really the only social media I post on. I make some TikTok videos once in a while of like day on set or just some like acting related things. And my TikTok is also at Julia Grace Reilly. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited for you and the entire County Rescue and Little Women's Christmas, Great American Family, Canyon Productions. I'm so excited and just looking forward to the movie guides and all the awards. I think you guys are going to just clean house. And so I'm praying for you. I wish I was going to be there with you on the red carpet. But I know that you guys are all going to have an incredible journey and time there. So anyway, thank you for joining us today. Keep shining bright for Jesus and being that world changer, because you are one of these women who are affecting our culture and changing a generation by creating God-honoring content. And that is one of the best things that we can do, because you're leaving your fingerprint on storytelling that will change people for generations to come. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor. I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Oh.
We hope today's episode inspired you. If it did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with somebody in your world so we can reach more and more amazing women in entertainment and media. We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a comment below. Your support truly means the world to us, and it helps us keep doing this important work. Also, don't miss out on signing up for our newsletter, and you get our acting prep guide for free. It's packed with tips to help you step into your purpose. If you feel led, also please consider donating to support our ministry. All the links are in the show notes below. We can't wait to hear from you to join us next time.